The UN Secretary General António Guterres says dramatic violations of international humanitarian law in Gaza must stop. The UN Agency for Palestinian Refugees said 6 of its staff were killed on Wednesday in an Israeli airstrike on a school that it runs in a refugee camp in central Gaza. The Hamas-run government media office said at least 18 people were killed. Israel's military said it had conducted a precise airstrike on what it called terrorists operating in the camp. Our correspondent Daniel de Simone in Jerusalem gave us more details about last night's developments.
Well, this attack took place yesterday. The UN Agency for Palestinian Refugees said it's the single deadliest incident for its staff since the war between Israel and Hamas began in October last year. The agency said 6 of its staff were killed. The agency's head says that now brings the total of its staff killed during this war to at least 220. The UN's head, António Guterres, has condemned what happened, said it's unacceptable, and he said that dramatic violations of international law must stop. The agency itself said the school has been home to around 12,000 displaced people, and that this was the 5th time during this war that this school had been struck, and the agency said that no one is safe in Gaza.
And previously, Israel has accused Unrwa of supporting Hamas. What have they said about this recent incident?
Well, the Israeli military said it conducted a precise airstrike on what it said were terrorists operating a Hamas command and control centre in the compound. They said those there were plotting and executing attacks on Israeli troops and on Israel itself. And then it took mitigation measures to avoid harming civilians. And it said that actually this showed what it said was another example of Hamas exploiting civilian infrastructure for its own purposes. As you say, Israel has previously been very critical of the agency, of this UN agency, very critical of what it said were its neutrality. It said that some staff had taken part in the attack last October on Israel by Hamas. There was actually a UN investigation into these claims, and several staff were then sacked by the UN after being found, there was evidence was found to suggest that they had indeed taken part. Some other staff were not sacked because the evidence, according to the UN, didn't meet the threshold for them to be dismissed.
Daniel de Simone there for us in Jerusalem.